once, but we're going to go ahead and pick it back up just to keep flow. Um, that said, last session the group failed to thwart Cardiff, or at least a number of Cardiff's attempts to unleash the Tarrasque in a much older point in time. After that complicated affair, the group was then shunted into a space that wasn't exactly within reality or wasn't outside of it. But yeah, the space beyond space, at a time beyond time, fades away from their view as Gressil answers their questions. The expansive endless void draws in closer as matter forms about you, creating a physical space for you to exist. Beneath your feet is parchment. You are standing on some gargantuan map of a peninsula surrounded by islands. Surrounding you are massive-sized tools, books, scrolls, and trinkets. A lit candle floats about some few dozen feet above, and a lantern sits on the parchment, filled with magical light. The cavernous space appears to be filled with massive objects, such as swords, dice, coins, baubles, just lingering in space. Some of them grouping together and kind of forming small, like planetoid kind of figures floating in this dark space. The dark cavity you sit within appears to have an edge to it, like there is kind of a border to the darkness, but this solid darkness gives you no clue as to where that might be. Lying out on the map near the compass rose is the only object in this place that seems to be of your own scale. A white porcelain mask with a blood-stained handprint on the face. That said, as you appear in this space, you would note that the compatriots that you were seeing kind of in full and not ghostial kind of alter a bit, leaving only three. And then before you, standing kind of north of you, you can see a ghostal or an ethereal kind of figure standing there. It appears to be yet another manifestation of the Time Lord Cardiff. This version appears to be transparent, ethereal, with no corporeality whatsoever. Where your feet are touching the parchment, you can notice that the paper, probably vellum, kind of bends and crinkles under your weight, just lightly, but underneath this Cardiff's feet, it does not move. It seems to be in that same kind of state that everyone else has been in, and that you can see the others who aren't present are still within, every so often kind of shunting into vision, but this Cardiff's presence isn't kind of warping out and kind of becoming invisible, just remaining present there. But yeah, that's exactly everything. What would you like to do?
Do any of these miscellaneous objects surrounding us, do any of them look familiar, or can I identify, like the craftsmanship or the craftsman?
Okay. If you'd like, you can go ahead and make a history check. Let me know what you got.
Oh boy.
An 11, but I also have. Hold on one second. Some spell driver doesn't affect history check.
No, not at all. So, as you're looking at some of these objects, they definitely appear to be from very a numerous different kind of origin points. Much of them, or many of them rather, are outside of your ken, well beyond things you've seen worked into place. Most puzzling to you is the strange green stone amulet that kind of hangs from the lantern. That's definitely a strange one. But even with an 11, there is one object that you kind of gravitate towards, and that would be the green shield that kind of lingers behind the lantern here. And you would know that that shield is the shield of House Balin. House Balin being the greatest house of warriors, tacticians, and masters of Parnak that history has ever known, at least according to your understanding of history. And there it lies, massive compared to you, but that does appear to be the shield, just discarded amongst all these things.
Where's Gressil? Gressil.
Gressil's not present.
Bartleby would say to Cardiff, "Where is this wonderful place you've taken us?"
You see that Cardiff starts to kind of move as if in response to the inquiry and starts replying, but there's no audible sound.
Hey, can I interject in here for a sec?
Hold on a second.
I just want to make.
Just one quick thing.
Oh,
Are
go ahead.
his lips moving?
Yeah, it looks like he is responding, but it seems that he's responding in such a way that it's. You can see his lips moving, but because you can see through him, and you can also see his tongue moving, and you can also see his teeth kind of moving at the same time, it's this very strange and kind of eerie, like, just movement.
Okay, so there's no lip reading possible kind of thing.
I'd let you go ahead and make a perception check.
Okay. 15.
Good enough. It seems, as you kind of say that, he says, "I don't think you can hear me. I think the veil blocks us from communicating." But you can kind of even hear that there's like an agedness to this version of Cardiff compared to the Cardiffs you've seen thus far.
Do I understand the veil that he's referring to?
The veil can refer to a couple of things, but the most common usage of the term the veil means the veil of life and death, the veil between life and death.
Thanks. Go ahead, Kevin. Sorry.
No, that's all right. You guys were doing stuff. I wanted to interject before we got too far. I think I remember from the last time we played, the Cardiff was trying to release the Parask.
We
fought him.
The young Cardiff.
Yeah, we fought him. Right. We fought him and defeated him, and then right at the end, I soul caged him. So I have a soul cage of the young Cardiff or whatever crazy Cardiff right now.
Correct.
So that's cool. I wanted to make sure that really happened. It's in my notes, but
Yeah, 100%.
it was a while ago.
What does that mean exactly?
That means I can like use his essence to heal myself or to do other things. It's interesting. Maybe
Okay.
I'll have to read up what I can do because I might be able to do things that can like help us figure things out too. So that would be kind of cool.
Nice.
I'm sorry, where is this vision of Cardiff?
Where is this what?
This this image of Cardiff right there.
Yeah, that's in there.
Sorry, I was like zoomed way far out.
No worries. And like I was saying as well.
Corso,
Oh, sorry. Like I was saying as well, the only other thing that's kind of your size here is the white porcelain mask that's over kind of by the compass rose.
yeah, we'll get to that. So Corso walks up next to Bartleby, and he looks at Cardiff and he says, "So we can't hear him?" And he doesn't appear to be fully corporeal.
Yeah, he seems to be on some other plane. He called it the veil.
Corso looks at Cardiff and considers him for a moment, and then he draws his revolver and shoots him twice.
Okay. The bullets go through him and slam into the glass behind him of the lantern, cracking it slightly, and one skids across the chest piece, which upon closer inspection you would note is the rook piece, or more specifically, the keep.
I just got a closer look at that necklace. That's adorable.
It is very cute.
After he shoots Cardiff, he says, "I didn't think that would work."
I don't see the mask on the map.
It wouldn't be present. It's
Okay.
it is a physical object you can kind of play with. It's not a piece
I
of terrain.
understand.
Yeah, because you said that mask was to scale with the rest of us.
Correct. It looks very similar to the mask that the Gideon Albacorus, the worm that walks, was wearing.
Interesting. Well, that probably does not bode well for him. Um, so this section of map that we're standing on, can I tell what this section of the map shows?
Sure. So it appears to be some sort of peninsula with a number of different kind of points of kind of entry into this bay surrounding it. There are two kind of drawings on the kind of like water area. One appears to be of a leviathan on the south side, and the other appears to be of a sea drake, kind of to the northwest side there. The compass rose appears to be in the appears to be of a very strange variety. Um, excuse me. It appears to be denoting a eight-pointed star instead of a normal four-pointed and then four-pointed star. Um, it does look like north is what you would consider north in this regard. It would be going up this way, and that's denoted on the ring around the compass. But it appears that there are indicators for each of the points that are numerical, and it's a bit confusing. But I'd say for Corso, probably not so much. These appear to be latitude markers, kind of denoting where it might be on the planet Urs in your kind of timeline. And based on what it's saying here, this is like on the other side of the planet from what you're used to and where you live.
Interesting. I pull out my little homunculus drone
Mm-hmm.
and I say to him in Parnan, record everything.
Starts recording.
And then I
Okay.
take one more quick glance around and I tell Bartleby, I'll be over here. And I kind of mosey off in the direction of that shield to sort of get a closer look at things, but specifically the shield.
Sure. Vankar, been a bit quiet. There are a lot of objects. You can point at one that's on the map and try and kind of discern information about it. You can just kind of do what Chad did, kind of global search and see if anything kind of pops out for you with a history check. Or, you know, you can ask questions about the items that have already been mentioned. Or interact with them.
Yeah, there's a lot to interact with here. I think so. Basically, would Corso have told the rest of us that you recognized the land masses as a place on the other side of the planet, or not? Did he not say that?
No. He's not really sure as far as like what his context would be for yours. He's not sure exactly how much of the world he would have to explain to you.
That's right. You're from the.
Yeah, and from he has no idea of what even part of the world you're from or what time.
Right. I think what I would do then is I would try to use a history check based on the map to see if I can piece it up to anything in the world where I would be from. You know, like I'm probably from like the Dragon Isles, I guess.
Yeah.
So let me do a history check.
So here's the thing, and I just want to make sure I know that Corso doesn't have it, which is why I didn't elect it. But I don't know for sure for you. But if you have navigator's tools trained, you can add your proficiency twice.
No, I do not.
Yeah, I was looking at Corso's character sheet earlier today.
Good roll though. Roll a 29.
Very good. So yeah, designating this, this appears to be a hypothetical positioning in map understanding. You're familiar with the Dragon Isles. This appears to be the Dragon Isles a long time ago, before the War of Sword and Serpent, during the Age of the One Wood, back when the Dragon Isles were in actuality the Dragon Isle. And it appears that this is denoting Dragon's Bay, which is the sea in the center. Well, what would be known as the Dragon Sea, but is not known as the Dragon Sea in this map's iteration. But it's hypothetical. No one's been to that point in time. No one understands what it would have looked like, but based on all of the geomancer kind of understanding of how the islands were moving and the tectonic and kind of geological stuff that was going on, this is what it would be presumed to look like. And the coordinates match.
Awesome. I would explain that to Bartleby. I'd be like, Bartleby, my friend, this is the Dragon Sea. The way things would have been theoretically years before my time in the Dragon Isles. Very interesting. I do not know what it means.
That is interesting. And Bartleby is like writing in his book. He's definitely drawn to the books, especially the ones in the South.
Sure.
And is it possible to read any of the books or glean anything? It looks like there's some open pages.
There are a couple of notes, and the notes appear to be all written in the same hand. It does look like they are written in the same language as well as the spine's kind of denotation as well. It appears that these are all in Draconic, which Bartleby would understand because of his ancientness, is the language of magic. That's how spells are cast. Those are where the power words are located. That's basically the fundamentals. It was born of the worm. The 2 pages that are kind of sitting aloft and are out there appear to have notations regarding something regarding the page that's most visible appears to be kind of describing something regarding a lantern, soul lantern that has been held fast and kept close to one of the shards of the gates of creation. But it's kind of written in kind of a sloppy, like, offhand. So that's basically all you're able to discern from that. The page that's kind of resting on the back end and it's just barely visible, you can see what looks like maybe a drawing of some sort, but you can't really make out what it is of. It's just kind of like a corner, and you can see kind of like the shading and kind of smearing of carbon that happens when people kind of try and surround their image with kind of darkness.
Okay, when we were first pulled as a group to the gate by Gressil, was that the gate of creation as well?
So yes, the gates of creation were what you saw. That's correct.
Okay.
Wait, but it was a lie.
We were tricked, right?
We thought it was the gates of creation, but it was the gate to hell or something, wasn't it?
It did end up being a gate to hell instead. Yes.
Does this term, the soul lantern, mean anything to me?
No, but there does appear to be a lantern near you that has some sort of kind of glowing essence in it.
So this is up here towards the north. I definitely want to tell this to the others and investigate that.
Okay. As you're taking notes, you're just kind of yelling it out over your shoulder.
Yeah.
Okay, and so you start moving over that way.
Well, then I guess I'd better not shoot it again.
Corso says as you approach. While Bartleby's doing that, Corso, you were kind of denoting, the information you had gleaned, and then Vankar kind of confirmed what you were thinking and kind of elucidated upon what you had kind of understood. The 3 of you kind of move over to the lantern, and
Do you want to take the lead on this, Bartleby?
Oh, well, okay, so Corso was already moving over here,
Yeah, go
but now
nuts.
So what you're
now
gonna
he
do,
knows
Chad?
extra careful with the lantern.
okay.
Was there a thing you were gonna do, Chad?
He's looking at the shield mainly, I think is what he said.
Is there a way to climb up the lantern to look into the light source? Like, it looks like there's a translucent.
Yeah, there's
cloud.
the side that you're looking at is you can see through it and you can look at the light source. The light source is
cool.
bright white. It's a dull white. Excuse me. It's a dull white. You presume that if it were not being kind of toned down, tinted rather, by the glass, it would be as bright as the sun. But because of that, it's just a white mote kind of floating in space, and it appears to have kind of a greenish kind of aura around it. And it's kind of settled inside of the now cracked kind of glass.
I would like to cast True Seeing.
Okay. It appears as it appears. Nothing is different. It definitely glows, the glass and the frame of the lantern.
Okay.
Yeah, Corso appears to be at the bottom of it, and the top end of it appears to be kind of, off the map a bit. Um, yeah, and Corso, as you're kind of examining the uh, shield, a couple things kind of pop up, and your history was really bad, but I'll explain a couple of things that kind of look interesting. There's a braid of hair that appears to be kind of in between the lantern and the shield, kind of lodged in that space. There appears to be a gray mantle kind of sheathed over the corner of the shield. There appears to be a very strange kind of donkey like plush toy with a unicorn horn. Um, Very strange as well. Um, and those are the things that are kind of immediately before you. And then you can see the gold chain of the amulet that kind of hangs off of the shield and kind of rests over the lantern.
Can I make another history check, or can I make like an enhanced history check?
If you have some sort of magical augmentation, I would allow a reroll, but based on the globalness of your roll, it's kind of locked in slot.
Yeah, I know I could use a flash of genius. I'm just trying to see if
Sure.
so I'll get back to you if I come up with something else. So
Okay.
yeah.
Um, Bartleby Vanguard.
Well, I think while Bartleby is checking out the lantern, I think Venkar is going to walk over to that. He thinks it looks like a giant queen piece for chess. He thinks it might be made of bone or something. So he wants to examine what it is and that kind of thing. See if there's anything to it. You
Sure.
know?
Closer examination would yield that it is not a queen piece, it is a rook piece, or the keep, more specifically. And it does look like it is made out of bone, specifically ivory. The amount of ivory that's present here is insane to you, um, unless the amount of Venkar is not insane, or is insane in a different way. It's just kind of perspective, I guess. Depends on how you're looking at it.
I look over at Bartleby and I'm like, you wouldn't imagine the street value of all of this ivory.
That's great. Maybe you could chip some off. You never know.
But yeah, it does look like it is a rook piece. That is correct.
How about this amulet here with a cat on it?
Sure. It appears to be very, very soft, kind of almost brightened rather by the glowing light. Jade, so you think. But as you get closer to it, you realize it's more crystalline than jade. It has more of a almost emerald-like nature, but the color is very kind of pearl green rather than like a lush emerald. The other thing you notice is it doesn't appear to be either of those two stones. It appears to be something entirely different. And as you're kind of getting close to it, you could hear it kind of resonating with like a song.
Okay, so it's singing some sort of a song.
The stone seems to be kind of resonating, yeah, kind of creating some sort of musical note.
Do I recognize it?
I would say make a history check, and if you have performance of any kind, or performance or musical instruments of any kind, you can add your proficiency twice.
If I want to use lucky to see if I can do better.
Sure.
Try again. There we go, 25.
Perfect. You have heard of a bard from long ago named Melik. Melik was by his contemporaries, seen as insane and kind of obsessed with a specific patterning. Oh, sorry, no, this would be after your time. Sorry, got mixed up. Rewind. You've never heard of Melik.
Okay.
So, based on what you read on the note pages, the gates of creation were created out of stone, a very unknown stone. Some theorize the same stone that is used to make up the Hierophant stone. Some people hypothetically believe that they all have very different natures, the parts that were rended from the gates of creation. This specific shard of stone saddled inside of its gold kind of holder and chain appears to be a shard of creation.
Okay, so I would say so to the others. This seems really important. Maybe we can figure out how to use it somehow.
That cat necklace?
Yeah, so if um, the soul lantern.
So, real quick, I do want to kind of rewind a bit. It does look like Chad posted something that's a reminder of something that why I was looking at his character sheet and what I was going to mention. When you bring up the cat lantern, or not the cat lantern, the cat amulet, to Corso, the things I was saying about Melik and his College of Song, College of the Song, kind of flood back to you. There was a bard named Malek in like the Middle Ages to you, who created a college surrounding the acquisition of shards of creation. And based on what Bartleby has said, you're kind of placing these things together. This stone appears to be one of them. And as you're kind of looking at it, you kind of reach over, kind of lift it up a little bit. You can see on the ring underneath it, it appears to have a name inscribed in the gold on the backside. And according to what you can tell, it says Lonk.
It says what?
Lonk.
That name sounds really familiar.
Just off to the side of that, you can see that there is a large bear trap. Looks very rugged and looks like it was just kind of thrown into the mix. It still has leaves, mud, and a little bit of blood. There is a bone behind it. It doesn't appear that the two are related. And there does appear to be a book kind of tucked inside of the bear trap underneath the map.
Let's check that out.
Okay.
I'm going to get to the bottom of the shield mystery. It's bugging me. It's one of those things that it's like you want to move on with your life, but you keep looking at it.
So you go back to looking at the shield. I'll go ahead and relay what you would know about House Balin. House Balin was formed by individual named Rowan Balin. Rowan was a great tactician during the Grey War, which was a kind of world cataclysmic event that caused lots of problems for everyone in the world due to the Meridian country kind of forming and the province of Darg becoming kind of a power for evil magics. This was thousands of years ago from your current positioning, but and thousands of years in the future from Bartleby's, and hundreds of years in the future from Benkar's. So they don't even know what you're talking about. But when House Balin kind of performed its great deeds during the Grey War, afterwards people honored House Balin by taking up his charge. He had no offspring of his own, and created Balin's Watch, which was a great mercenary organization. And using your Secrets of Time once again, because I think it's a suitable one, the shield was gifted to a individual in Parnak whose name clicks so hard, it's like, ugh. A cultivator of acquisition of very ornate and very important historical artifacts named Gressil. And that was when the shield kind of disappeared from your history.
He says, "That son of a bitch."
Who?
He stole it?
You hear a voice come from the center of the map, and he kind of turns to Corso, the ghost Cardiff, and speaks, this time being heard. Who? He says. Oh, oh my. Oh, I wasn't expecting that to work. Oh, can you hear me now?
We can hear you.
Great.
Corso turns with his gun in hand, and he has it raised, but he doesn't shoot.
So, I suppose you've probably been taken away from your original quest and goal. Unfortunate. I hoped that you would be summoned to me, but I was in the process of dying a horrible death, being bound to an ancient shard of existence, and well, a lot of things happened really, and it's hellish. First off, I want to make sure you understand. I'm pretty sure you've probably seen this face, or something like this face, a number of times. So just guessing. Probably, right?
Young, old, yeah.
Is he saying that to Corso or everybody?
Everybody. It seems like he's kind of talking to everybody now.
Right. Corso's just gonna listen, but he's gonna move closer.
Okay, great. Well, I just want to make sure you know that I am the Prime Cardiff. Even if the other ones...
That's what they all say.
Even if the other ones say that they are Cardiff Prime, they're not. It's me. I'm the one. It's always...
Corso says, "Prove it."
Well, I can try. So here's the thing. Last I remember, I was inside the Pyramid of Souls. And, well, the person who was wielding me was killed horribly. And unfortunately, the transaction caused his soul to usurp my soul and send me back into a spiraling fray of non-existence. Well, existence, but not quite. I was fortunate enough to grab onto some tethers that were about, and I managed to find my way here. Once I did, I called for you, the great heroes of the ages, all of them. And it's unfortunate that only you are the ones that are manifesting. I had dozens, but, well, beggars can't be choosers.
Wizards can be an unreliable bunch.
Oh, I know it. Well, I mean, take me, for example. But it seems that you're stuck here until you find a way out. I guess the easiest way out would just be lancing your way through the penumbra. If you want a violent exit, I suppose. But
I believe Cardiff Prime would have had the power to summon more people. I think your power is less
they're here.
than Cardiff Prime.
They're just not here. I mean, they're here. I summon them. But you're not exactly you know. You're different. And some of you don't even exist. Some of you never did. Well, actually, none of you did. All of you did? None! All. I don't know what it is. Could be both. At the
So are
same
you
time.
stuck here, or are you just passing through?
Well, yeah, I'm stuck here. I'm bound to that. And he gestures to the cat.
You seem like a merry sort. The younger version of you was not nearly so nice, wanted to erase existence.
Well, there was definitely a very high-strung age of my existence, yes.
That was you.
What's that?
That was you?
I can't. You keep cutting out. It's weird.
I'm sorry. That was you.
Well, yeah, probably. I mean, so I am Cardiff Prime, as I mentioned. So it was me who was responsible for breaking the Arch of Time. But unfortunately, I was usurped by myself at the moment I did, which was fortunate because the entities wanted to obscure me, destroy me. And when they sundered me, they sundered him. And so when he was sundered, all of his existence, which was mine, but not really, it was him, all throughout and about time. And, well, so there's a lot of
me, but it's not really me, it's him. So you're not mad at me if you were fighting me, because it wasn't me. It was him.
Nobody
So
rubs his head.
are you like this because there is less of you?
No, I'm here because I died horribly. I was killed. Yeah, I'm just a normal. I mean, I'm like anyone else, I guess, when I had a physical body. But then I was bound to what is known as the Dream Shard, and taken up by a wizard, well, warlock? I don't know where he gained his power from. He was kind of gifted. Not bad at magic, but good. Good enough. Loren and his band of adventurers descended down into up? Into? Is it down? Into the pyramid. It's very topsy-turvy. Upside down, right, left, up, and I don't know. So the point is he died horribly, just like I had died before him, so obviously it was something to be expected, but not exactly the preferred avenue. And when I...
So,
Go
sorry.
ahead.
Out of character going back, how did we get here? I thought we were supposed to meet with Gressil.
No, I summoned you.
No, this is an out of character question.
Gressil's not welcome here.
No, this is Chad talking to John.
Oh, this is too Friday speaking. Gressel's not welcome here.
Okay, so, sorry, walking into this, I thought Gressil was the one that pulled us here. Where he was
Seems like
trying
there's
to
a
take us.
battle between Gressil and Cardiff, or the different versions of Cardiff.
Cardiff
Right.
summoned you to protect him from Gressil, according to what Gressil said when he was killing the Cardiff in the very first session at the Gates of Creation. He then asked you, Gressil did, to help him get through the Gates of Creation so he could mend the Arch of Time. You worked with him session 1 to get into the Gates of Creation. Succeeded, but the problem is something happened that caused the Gates of Creation to no longer open into where the Arch would be, instead opening into one of the 13 Gates of Ashtar, specifically the Gate of Envy. You then met with Cardiff, more specifically the Valiard version of Cardiff, the one that basically usurped the Prince of Envy during the beginning of creation, or the beginning of time, very earliest aspect of Envy. He was destroyed by a different demon prince at that moment, specifically Sod Derelithoth, a entity or god from far away that entered at that moment to take him. How he was drawn to that point, most of you are probably hypothesizing that it was because of Eslo's presence there, because Eslo is a servant of Sod Derelithoth, allowing that entity to be drawn to it.
That's a paradox.
Exactly. You figured out the riddle of the realm with some assistance, but not much, from Gressil. But it seemed that it was a coveted layer of just granted knowledge that was being brought in. At least under the control of Cardiff, that's what it was. You didn't defeat Sod Derelithoth, you just skewered him. And then once you had basically gotten a free passage out, you descended from your choice out of one of the gates that were brought to you. The gate that you descended into brought you to the fields of the Tarask, and you saw that one Cardiff of 8 was was it 9? Yeah, was unbinding the seals that held the Tarask in place in that mountain. You defeated the Cardiff you were facing, but it wasn't enough to block the efforts of that one. So that existence, if it actually happened, continues with the Tarask destroying all of reality. But you were ripped from that moment by Gressil and pulled to the space between spaces and the time between times. And you spoke with one of the entities, one of the maidens of existence, one of the mothers of existence. Not maiden, mother. And she basically told Gressil that he can relay any information that you wanted. You were given the option to ask any questions at that point, anything that you could think of. People asked some questions, some answers were given, and then everything faded from view, and you're on a map.
Right, so I think that Corso missed the bit with the other Cardiff and the trying to prevent the Jurassic thing, right?
Sounds right.
Yeah, I wasn't there for that session. I watched. So
We kind
No
of
worries.
destroyed reality. We destroyed reality, Chad. Yeah.
Destroyed a reality, correct.
Messed
I'm
up.
trying to. I'm trying to figure out if we were on our way somewhere and ended up here accidentally, or if we ended up here by surprise.
It seems like you were at this space between spaces, and Gressel said he couldn't hold you there for long. And then you were pulled away from that place to this place. Because remember, the original summoner of everyone was Cardiff. This Cardiff claims that it is him that summoned you all.
So Corso's digesting all this information, and he looks from Cardiff to Vencar to Cardiff again. And he says, "So this Terrask situation.
What terrace situation?
Okay, that's all I needed to know."
Okay.
You
So-
can see him incorporeally scratching his hair.
Right. So he's looking at Cardiff and he's looking at the greenstone. He says, he points at the cat and he says, "So that's a dreamstone
No.
shard."
No, that's the life stone. The dream shard I was in before. It had a sister known as the nightmare shard. There was the good Esper Edge and the evil Esper Edge. I was mostly just piggybacking off of Ashmodea's magic, just to kind of get a gateway back into reality and hopefully alter some things. But unfortunately, things went south when Yenloren died, and I was shunted from the dream shard out. I guided an individual to the nightmare shard, but it wasn't mine to have. Unfortunately, someone was already present there, and I couldn't linger long. Luckily, all of these pieces of the Gates of Creation still have magical tethers to one another, and I was able to find my way to the life shard, which unfortunately was already here. And so I've been stuck here in my bag.
Wait, did he say "in my bag"?
He did say that.
Well, then, my
Okay.
friends, you should know what everything is in this bag. Am I correct?
Yeah, probably. I mean, I forget a lot of things.
Corso, he points at Cardiff and he says, "Stay right there. Don't move."
Okay.
And he waves to Vencar and Bartleby and he walks around the corner back to over here.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry, Roll20's being super unresponsive.
Perfectly fine.
Wait, describe
Oh,
where you're
yeah.
going.
Kind of around the lantern.
Over here. And he kind of does like one of these, like huddle up. And so they huddle up with their backs to Cardiff. And he looks over his shoulder and makes sure Cardiff isn't watching. And then he pulls out a piece of charcoal and he squats down on the ground and he writes on the ground, "I think Gressil is at Cardiff."
Why?
So, real quick, I'm sorry, I don't mean to interrupt you all. In this place, I kind of have omniscience, so I can see what you're talking about, and I can hear what you're
Damn it.
whispering about. Sorry, I didn't want you to feel like I was intruding, and I wanted to be honest with you.
Is he right?
I don't know. He says.
Corso's little drone makes like a really embarrassed, like, "Ooh."
Well, that was awkward.
Corso whistles nonchalantly while he scuffs up the charcoal writing with his boot.
Okay. You'll notice that the parchment seems to kind of rend, but it doesn't like rend as you would expect it. Like, it's not like it is a very large piece of vellum. It's like a very normal sized piece of vellum that is very large. Do you get what I mean?
Oh yeah, I know. It's like it's a normal sized piece of paper. It's to scale.
Yeah. You are small.
Right. Absolutely. I mean, trust me, I've been thinking about that in relation to how big I am, but still being able to cast spells.
Right.
So I kind of want to cast Corso's toy on that cat and ride it around like an elephant.
Absolutely 100% possible. That's perfectly fine. I can't move it off the map, of course. But yes,
Oh, totally.
you can definitely cast it. It seems that it shunts off of the stone and kind of focuses more on the ring around it, and so like it's your toy, but it's kind of like with this laden kind of center piece, but it still functions the same. The stone appears to be untouchable by magic.
Are we? Barnaby would
I
ask,
guess now that it's animated, I'll just have it follow me around while we're trying to figure out what to do.
Yep, the chain kind of drags off of the thing. You can hear kind of like a clinking sound coming off of the shield as the chain does so, and it kind of follows you around.
I want to ask Cardiff, are we on the same plane of existence, just shrunken down?
I don't know what's outside.
Okay, so I have the spell plane shift, and so I'm just trying to decide whether or not.
Do you want to cast plane shift?
Well, I would. I'm discussing this with the others in the group, or Venkar is near me. I don't know if Corso is, but I could take us to another plane, but I want to make sure I know which one that is
Right.
and where we are.
And since I've got this piece of jewelry animated, we might as well take this with us. Could come in handy.
Okay. Make a knowledge arcana check.
Who, Barnaby?
Yeah.
Cool. I just want to sort of see something real quick.
Sure.
Okay.
If you can, try to take us outside the bag.
25.
Bartleby's a pretty smart lad. You have an understanding of how the spell plane shift works and how connection to other planes works. So, in the center of the cosmology, you have Urs, the material plane, the planetoid that you're kind of familiar with. Mm-hmm. It moves through the astral sea, which is the space around it, but in actuality, the astral sea is surrounded by a crystal sphere which moves through the phlogiston, which is the grander, more open space of the known universe. You would know that shunting just back behind it, the material plane, is an echo of it, known as the Feywild, or the ethereal, and lining through all of these is a connective tissue known as the plane of shadow, or as you would understand it, Aerith. Aerith is kind of the connective tissue that plane shift and most conjuration spells utilize to kind of move you from point A to point B. You are sitting inside of a magic item, if what he said is accurate, that is not connected to anything like that. It is a sub-dimension. It is a demi-plane that's been created that allows access. You should not be allowed to teleport into a bag of holding, nor are you able to teleport out of bag of holding. And if you attempt to create an extra dimensional space, you're basically ripping open the bag.
Okay, knowing that we're inside of a bag of holding, can I see where the exit is?
Nope.
Okay, so no, I have a bag of holding. Oh shit,
well,
John.
Well,
what?
Hold on. You having
John, this is good.
If you having a bag of holding, you would know two things, and I want to make sure you understand them. First off, when you're inside of a bag of holding, there's no egress. You cannot exit. The only way a bag of holding's dimension actually allows for access is when the bag is held open, someone reaches into the bag, commands the thing inside that they want, then it is pulled from that extra dimensional space, which you are currently in, and brought to the hand to be pulled out of the bag in sometimes comical ways. Because if it's like a really long sword being pulled out of a handbag, that's confusing, but possible through this strange arcane.
10-foot pole.
The second thing you would know is that if you open up a bag of holding inside of a bag of holding, or create some sort of dimensional gate, shift, teleportation, what have you, while inside of this extra dimensional space, both will explode.
Guess what I have, guys? I have a portable hole, which I'm not going to take out.
Yeah, it's like, oh shit.
No, so yeah, that's a fun thing. a portable hole so long as it's not being utilized while inside of this bag of holding because of its
He starts going for like his Swiss Army approach, where he's like, "Let me reach into my bag and see what I have," and then he's like, "Shit."
All those items are barred from you.
He's like, "Oh, it's a good thing I got my gun and my drone." Like, yeah, we can make this work.
What if we made ourselves very large? Would we bust out of the bag of holding? I don't think it works that way.
Well, it does have a maximum.
It has a weight
capacity,
limit,
but I don't think we can make. I don't know.
Cardiff says, this one doesn't.
Wait, Cardiff, if you brought this in here, you could probably get us out, right?
Reach your hand in, Cardiff.
But I'm not out there. I'm in here.
Just close your eyes and reach your hand in.
I don't know where the bag is. I know where I left it, but that was a long time ago. And it's probably been raided by adventurers. You know how they are.
so if it's been raided by adventurers, why are we still in here?
No,
And carried around by adventurers.
you can't just reach into a bag and pull out what you want. And if they think they just have a regular bag of holding, they're stuffing their own stuff into it, and it's probably somewhere that way. It's certainly not any of this stuff. This is all my stuff.
Well, look, we're here.
Actually, I don't recognize that, he says as he points at the grappling hook and rope. That's probably that bullshit.
Where's that grappling hook and rope?
It's directly south.
Yeah, roll 20 is being super slow.
I understand.
Okay. Excellent. Excellent. Okay.
And a shovel?
Shovels come in handy.
Corso
digging up circuits.
climbs up on top of the lamp, or
Okay.
really he just like, does a little. He doesn't need to climb. He just does a little jetpack hop.
Yep.
Hops up on top of the lamp and he like walks over to the edge. He's basically trying to get to like the highest point he can find.
So directly over the edge, you would see that there's kind of like a glowing blue orb, which kind of scintillates with colors. Around the shield, there appears to be like a pretty massive goblet. Kind of up floating in the air, there's a green glass gauntlet. There's a sword that seems to have kind of like a roiling of blood, kind of just swirling around its blade. A bone necklace. Looks like the second gauntlet kind of floating off in the distance there. Another shield with a lion with red marks on the face of the shield. More books off to the right. Scrolls kind of floating off and loosely. And everything I've already mentioned before. Some coins. A couple of them look like they have Cardiff's face on them.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So basically, he's getting to like a high vantage point where he has like a good line of sight in all directions.
Yep. To the south, there's a potion, some playing cards. There's a like a jester's mask, dagger.
Pulls out a spyglass.
What's that?
He pulls out a spyglass.
Okay.
Starts looking around.
Yeah, there's further out. There are other balls that have kind of formed up of stuff, like little planetoids where gravity's kind of like massed in. Based on what you can see from this distance, it looks like the smaller articles kind of group to like one large article. Like you see one kind of grouping kind of like massed around a treasure chest. You see another one kind of off the distance. It looks like it's massed around a suit of armor, which has a very demonic look to it. But it looks like there's a lot of magic items here that, as you're kind of looking around, kind of, wait a minute. And you think about it and you're like, I remember reading that in a book. And you kind of like go towards like where you kind of keep your books and you go, I can't.
Like, oh, almost got me.
Almost got me, you son of a...
Yeah, he hops back down and he says,
Well, while you're
probably...
real quick, while you're doing that, Venkar and Bartleby, is there anything that you want to try?
I'm going to look at Bartleby and I'm going to go, Bartleby, I think we must split up investigate what is here and see if anything can get us out. Unless we want to rely on Cardiff to get us out, but I don't think that's very reliable.
No, he doesn't seem to know what's going on.
I mean, you're going to need a lot of power if you're going to want to try and get out of here with normal spellcraft. You'll need to create a tether, and unfortunately, that can only be done with.
He looks over at the lantern.
Shit.
Go ahead.
A soul. And he kind of gestures towards the lantern.
Is there a soul in the lantern?
Yeah.
The soul
how
of
do we-
what?
It's
How
a
do we-
soul shard, right?
A tether.
It's complicated.
Can we break open the lantern? Or do you know how to harness the shard inside of it?
There's no shard. It's just energy, but it's glass. It'll break.
You know what kind of spell would help us with that?
Points at Corso.
Gun. You can cast gun.
Corso like waves his revolver and he says, "Catch that, did you?"
Yeah. You could do that, I guess. Or if you want to brainstorm more, find something. You could just shoot off into the darkness. It might hit the permeable layer on the exterior and allow you access to the exterior. I don't know if your size will change or not, but
Oh boy, we'd be stuck as small forever. Great.
Honey, I Shrunk the Adventurers.
Right. Right.
Well, Cardiff, I happen to have a soul cage, but it is currently occupied. So I'm not sure what I could do to capture another soul, unless I could use magic to rend it into a tether, but I don't know how to do that.
well, I think that if you take the soul into yourself, it should empower you to be able to cast spells a bit more. You can cast them more powerfully.
Okay.
Corso points his gun at the glass and he says to Cardiff, "Whose soul is in there?"
It's complicated.
That's not what I asked you.
Yes, well, it's technically an unborn soul.
You're gonna have to be more specific.
Yeah. It's my soul.
But it's my
Corso lowers his
it's-
gun.
it's my soul before it becomes my soul.
I went through a very edgy period in my 20s, okay? It was very difficult to understand that I came from something, somewhere, like everyone else, you know? I wasn't special. I was just a mote of existence that flooded into the world and was born because of one man and one woman fornicating and producing
so,
me.
real quick side note. Is the title of this episode 2.5 Cardiffs?
No, it's a breathe in the air.
Okay. Well,
But I
obviously
love it.
complicates things. But yes, Corso is I'm not sure if Corso would know that that the soul Venkar was referring to is also a Cardiff. But
I don't know.
yeah,
Would the other wizards have noticed? I think they probably would have noticed that I cast a spell and like sucked his soul as he was dying.
Yeah, but they were in the transient state. Corso was. Bartleby would know.
So Bartleby knows. So I wasn't going to tell Cardiff that this is a Cardiff soul. So, I haven't said that yet, but
and Corso doesn't know. But now Corso knows there's a Cardiff soul in the lantern.
Correct.
And whatever this thing is, a shadow of a memory?
So the main thing is it should be fine if you break the lantern and take the soul out of it and utilize it for empowering your own magics to help you with your plane shift or whatever you were trying before. That's fine.
Or we could release the soul and it could empower you and you could leave us here.
No, I'm dead. Life and living things won't really change that. And I'm bound to your toy.
Gestures towards the cat statue that's bounding around the little map.
Yeah, it does like a little foxtrot, like hop from one foot to the other.
He nods. So, yeah. Complicated. Like I said. Or, I mean, if you were patient, you could just jump on the grappling hook, and when the adventurers need it, they pull you lot out, and because you're attached to the grappling hook, and you exit that way. Or it could be the case.
Well, I do not think that is very likely. In this bag, I would imagine I would be using a shovel a lot to dig up servants. Why would I use a grappling hook? That's insane. I can fly or levitate. It's insane. Am I right, guys?
We all lead different lives.
Kind of says.
We need to jump on the shovel, and then we will be pulled out.
Perhaps the shovel would be used. Yes, that's great.
So you're just gonna have a bunch of like high-tier wizards scattered around this dump, like clinging to multiple different things, hoping one of us gets chosen.
And then when one sees it, it's like, oh, I'm going to cast Dimension Door. Oh, oops. And then the Avengers on the other side are just ripped to shreds as everything explodes outwards.
After weeks, we see a hand come down from above. We're just like, the claw.
Ooh. But yeah.
I mean,
Yeah,
Corso's ready to shoot out a window. He's just waiting on you guys to not
All
get
right.
mad for it.
Bartleby, are you ready to harness the power of a soul to cast your spell? Or do you need me to suck the soul into my body and then spit it up like a baby into like a baby bird's mouth? That way. It's possible, I think.
Oh, you would feed me, you mean?
Yeah, like I would suck the soul in and then spit it back up, regurgitate it into your baby bird mouth.
Right. Okay.
If you
Wow.
can't eat the soul, I will feed it to you.
Wow, that is so generous.
So generous.
Thanks so much. Pre-chewed and everything.
It will probably taste more pure that way because then it won't enter you as in a pure soul.
Well, why don't you do, first? Let's talk about what spell we think would work to help us get out of here. A spell that would be empowered. I could do Fireball.
Well, Plane Shift would be one that could probably work. If
Oh.
it's empowered, it can kind of bypass the rules.
Oh, okay. So we're not just blasting out. That's fine.
Yeah.
Would I have a sense? I know I did like an Arcana check on it earlier. Whether or not how it would work that the inside the essence would enter into Bartleby. Like,
Right. If you were to take the soul into you, it would basically enter you like when you prepare spells, you're kind of replenishing magical space inside of you. If you were to take in this power source, it would empower you beyond your normal limit. So you'd be capable of casting spells much greater than you're able to cast.
I would be He-Man essentially, right?
You would be empowered temporarily
Okay.
by the power of Cardiff Skull.
Right. So Corso, shoot that thing out. I'm gonna go for it. Do I know what? Do I know what plane I want to be on? We want to be on our home plane. Is that enough?
Corso wants to be wherever this bag of holding is. He wants that shield.
Not gonna happen. That's probably not gonna happen. We're just gonna it's easier to say like we want to be on the prime material plane or wherever, right? Or we want to be the Shadowfell or wherever.
I mean, you could hold on to something and maybe it'll take it with you. I just don't know.
So you can specify a target destination in kind of general terms. So if you know a place on the plane of existence that you want to go to, then you could kind of generalize that once you cast Plane Shift
Got
and
it.
move to that location. That's absolutely an option.
Bartleby would say, Venkar, my friend, perhaps a tour of your homeland would be in order.
It is wonderful. I would love to show you the power and greatness of my culture and my people. You would be greeted as a hero there. This I am sure.
So where's that, the Dragon
You
Isles?
too, Carcel.
Is that the Dragon Isles?
Yes, the
Okay.
Dragon Isles.
We're there. Let's do that.
Okay.
Torso raises his shield, and he's basically like bracing his revolver against it as he looks over it, aims at the glass, and shoots.
Okay. The second that happens, the darkness kind of becomes a bit greater. It seems like the place kind of gets slightly kind of distorted, and the light kind of fades to a lighter blue. But there's now kind of an open point of access to the soul inside.
I could climb inside.
Yeah. And is anyone else doing so?
Yeah, we have to
do
climb
we have to
inside,
be all
right?
together, right?
If you want to do it in there, you can. But
Yeah, we have to hold hands, I think, don't we? It's
I
like
don't know. I don't know if that's how plane shift works. Hold
okay.
on.
Well, anyways, as you're moving towards it, those of you that are still outside would note that the darkness appears to seem to move and
We
shift.
have to be linking.
And then you see the darkness open its eyes.
Okay. Uh-oh.
Sweet.
The mass that's laying on the map levitates. What you think is levitation. But then you notice that there's stuff underneath kind of coming up off the map like a pillar. A bunch of worms. Until it stands into a stature that is man-like. And the mask sits where the face should be.
Albacorus.
And he says, "Don't do it." Loud enough that all can hear. The face that now sits is not covered with a bloody hand. It is a pale white mask with no staining. You then see that a mound of worms appears over on the southwestern side of the map and the northwestern side of the map, or northeastern side of the map.
Why
And then
shouldn't we do it?
he says again, "Don't do it." But it sounds like three voices now in unison.
Corso looks at the one closest to him and he says, "I'm sorry, have we met before?"
And then again, he says, "Don't do it." But this time, instead of just three voices, it sounds like 100 voices, all kind of throughout this dark space. The eyes of the masks glow red, similar in kind to the red eyes that look at you, like feral beasts in the wilds, ready to pounce upon you.
Yeah, so I'm gonna grab hold of Venkar and Corso. Come nearby, Corso, and rip the spell.
Cardiff kind of drops to his knees, looking at them. Oh. I guess it didn't matter. Heh. Good luck on your journey, friends. I'm sorry. He looks up to the worms that walks. And they once again say in unison, "Don't do it."
I just want to be clear. My toy's coming with me.
It can't fit inside of the lantern.
Oh, we got to get inside the lantern?
Well,
We just
that's
have to be. We have to hold hands like in a circle.
so Bartleby goes into the lantern and places his hand on the soul. Is that right?
Yeah, if that's how it works to be
Okay,
empowered
great.
by it. Yes.
Cool. Make a Constitution saving throw.
You're good.
Okay, what if I'm taking the chain with me?
Okay. Yeah, that's fine. So you feel empowered. You feel
So I have advantage on this.
perfectly fine. Still a failure. You feel a power kind of course through your physical body, and you can feel it kind of erupting from your fingertips, your eyes, your nostrils, like it's coming out your ears. It feels like there's energy kind of swelling inside of you. The Cardiff outside seemed to kind of fade a bit when the lantern light kind of dissipates at that point, and then all of the things happen. So this is what's happening for Bartleby inside while they're seeing the situation outside. You stand up and you start walking out, but you're starting to see everything kind of moving in tracers. Everything seems to be kind of moving in like a strange state of like it all happening at once. and you're not able to kind of discern what's what and where's where. So as you kind of get out of the glass and kind of stumble out, you feel like concentrating on anything is difficult, near impossible. During each turn that you attempt to cast the spell, Plane Shift, you'll need to make a Constitution saving throw or a concentration check. So if you have something that gives you advantage for concentration, grant that in as well. But if you fail the DC, you will have to try again. You will not be able to cast that turn.
Okay, so if he absorbs the soul and he comes back out of the lantern.
Yep.
Okay, cool. So now if he does manage to cast the spell, I'm gonna make sure my toy comes with me.
That's fine.
I have a question.
Go ahead.
Would I know that all spells that I cast are empowered, or is it a one-shot deal? Like, in other words, I could only cast one empowered spell.
So all spells would be empowered temporarily. How long that will be, you do not know. So you do not know if you have the time to engage in such activities.
Right. In other words, I don't think I can get involved in any fight.
You try.
I will let you know, Andy, that next time. Sorry, I wasn't really on the ball for that one that you made just now, but I have this ability. That I'll use on your next one.
Okay. Great. I also have two uses of lucky left, so that might help.
That's nice. That ability. That's a good one.
So it's going to be Corso and his toy, but they're basically just going to be falling back to Bartleby and Venkard while shooting stuff.
Roll initiative.
All right, I like it.
Helm of Awareness, this is with advantage. You want me to roll it again?
Yeah, that's fine.
Shoot. Yeah. I rolled, but I didn't have click my thing, so I'm going to have to do it again and put 22 in there.
Wow, guys.
Okay. So you and up to 8 willing creatures who link hands in a circle are transported to a different plane of existence. That's another thing you're going to need to take into account.
So you could hold your action until we get there.
I would say that since Bartleby was coming out of the glass, he'd be around there. And since Venkar was probably not just, hanging around the corner after doing the whisper talk, was probably right about there, to be absolutely fair. All right. 25 is the highest initiative. Let me change the music. Sorry, hold on. Bartleby.
Yep, I'm gonna move to here by Venkar,
Okay.
and I'm gonna try to cast that spell.
Plane shift?
Can I grab onto Corso and bring him with me as I move?
That'd be an action to try and move him.
Damn it. Okay, then.
What you could do. Sorry.
Go ahead.
You can move here, so you're between me and my toy, and you could hold your action until Venkar moves up here and joins the circle.
There you go. Thank you. That was very clever. Yeah, so I'll do that.
Okay.
Hold my action. Venkar's next.
Here, be right here, between me and the question mark.
Okay.
All right.
Venkar, you're up.
All right. He's holding his action. I'm going to move over there. I guess I'll just... I'm going to hold an action, too. I'm going to hold an action. I'm going to cast...
Well, they're trying to get you close to them so that you can hold hands and then get out.
I'm going to do that. I'm just holding an action. I was going to hold an action for... I can't remember the name of the spell right now. Counterspell. If they counterspell you, I can counterspell them.
Well, that's just a reaction. You could do that anytime.
Oh, you're right. So I don't have to hold it. All right. Never mind then. I'll just move over there and just not do anything really cool, I guess.
Well, we could throw something at them to stop them from messing with us.
I mean, I could... they're all separate spots, man.
Whatever that question mark is doesn't sound very good.
I need.
That's his ally. That's the
oh.
toy.
That's why, I wanted you to be right where Venkar's at, but that works too. Venkar being there, as long as he holds hands with my toy.
All right, I guess I'll move over since you're right. It is a reaction. I'll move over there and cast fly on myself in case everything goes to shit. I can move around, you know.
I think we'll be fine.
Okay. So after 22, it'll go to held. So Bartleby, you're casting plane shift.
Yep.
Okay.
So I need to make a con saving throw.
Constitution saving throw.
So then,
Use my
additional-
reaction, give him a +5.
Great.
Okay.
So let's see. I think I have advantage on that.
Why?
So that's 29.
Why do you have advantage? That's not a saving throw against a spell.
Okay. I'm going to use lucky then.
Or against magic. It's a saving throw that you're kind of dealing with. The second you attempt to shift fates, you feel the entire space start to kind of change and alter. You see you casting the spell and succeeding, and you watch as Cardiff's form starts to dissolve. That version of you goes away. And what was the ability that granted him +5? I need to know if that's a luck or fate changing thing or divination type thing. What was it called?
Flash of Genius.
Okay, that's just you being cunning. Okay, never mind.
Yeah.
Okay. The main thing is when you start to cast the spell, it doesn't seem to take hold.
So lucky does not work.
Lucky does not work.
Do I lose the lucky?
It doesn't work, so you can't spend the luck point.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
Does Bartleby have Warcaster?
Warcaster would be advantage. That would have done it. But yeah, 15 is not good enough for the saving throw. That said, all right. All three of you need to go ahead and make a dexterity saving throw.
Quick saving throw.
So does this work? I have it on this
That
one,
will
right?
work, correct. Yeah, the soul being inside of you is no longer resisting magic. It is you being just messed up.
Okay. 13.
Okay.
This isn't a surprise thing, is it?
No, you're going to see what's happening.
Oh, so +5 is 18, right?
Why are you getting +5?
Oh, just the Flash of Genius doesn't work on
Just
this?
for the
Or-
one. You
No,
don't
it's
do
just for the one.
Got it.
Yeah. So the DC is 19. Those that failed take 22 necrotic damage and are blinded and restrained, and those that succeeded take half damage. So that said, what you witness is as you kind of are standing there holding hands, the spell kind of doesn't manifest, and you can see Bartleby look over at Cardiff as Cardiff is kind of wasting away. The best way I can kind of explain that and how that's happening is Beetlejuice. Think Beetlejuice is they're kind of like withering away. They're ghosts that are kind of becoming older. His teeth are kind of rotting out inside of the visage that you're seeing, and he's becoming twisted and maligned by that. That said, the worms move across the maps, kind of slithering in piles towards you. Those of you that see it coming, Venkar specifically, kind of dashes and darts out of the way. The rest of you are caught by these swarms of worms that come up over your body and are like getting into your eyes, kind of coming all over you, are moving all over you. Not they were coming towards you and then they were moving all over you. Sorry, awkward, apologies. But they are
You would have nailed it if you would have just kept going. It would have been fine.
That's fine. No one would have even noticed. They're holding you kind of in place and are kind of locked around you. To Venkar, who's not caught in the pile, you would see that the two of them appear to be identical copies of the other three at this point. And with that, I'll take a legendary action. The one that is Corso grows a pseudopod and slaps at Venkar.
How rude.
I don't think a 13 hits, does it?
No, it does not.
All right. So yeah, they are restrained and kind of locked in their positions there. Venkar, you already did your thing. Corso, you're up.
All right, I'm looking for. I don't think I have a token for my. No, there it is. Yeah, just hold on. I'm trying to see what my token can do, if it can help me at all.
It's not very strong.
Yeah, I think I'm just gonna try to move it closer to the circle.
Okay.
I mean, that's what it's gonna do on its turn. For my turn, I'm going to bonus action use my.
It can take the help action to try and help you get out of the restrainment, unless you have a spell to get out of it.
Is that a saving, like end on a saving throw thing?
No. So you're restrained. So you have to. You can attempt to. You're basically going to have saving throw on end of your turns to resist it, but you can also try to escape as your action. And
Okay, but I mean, like, so is it something that's hanging on to me?
Yeah, it's a
I mean,
bunch of worms.
It's okay. So is it something I can attack to shake loose, or something I can teleport out of?
I would say you can attack it, yeah, but you can teleport out of it, and it would be no problem.
Right. I don't want to do that though. Okay, just bear with me 1 second.
Sure.
Like there's something I wanted to do, and now my brain's all got distracted. What do I want to do? Jeez. Can't do anything because I'm surrounded by allies. You said I'm blinded too, so I'm restrained and.
Blinded, yeah.
Okay. Then, crap in the hat. So, is it one saving throw to help me end both of those?
Yeah, so it's one effect. It's being in the worms that's causing that. So yeah, if
Okay.
you make this, if you use your action to get out, it's not a saving throw. It's an either athletics or acrobatics check to get out of a restrained position. And like I was saying, it can be made. It'll be made with disadvantage because you're blinded, but it could be made with advantage if you use the toy to help you. Since the toy's not
Okay.
doing anything, I was trying to give you something to do with it.
Right. Yeah. It's I'm not even sure that would be the right action economy, but whatever. Yeah, I'm gonna use my bonus action. Yeah, I better get out of this. So, so I'm restrained, so I can't move. Yeah. So I guess bonus action, get one of my helpers to help me, and then
Mm-hmm.
use my action to make the saving throw to get out.
Well, it's not a saving throw. Athletics or acrobatics check, your choice.
Oh. Okay.
And you'll have advantage, but you'll have disadvantage because you're blinded.
Right. I'm going to use my. What do I have? Do I have the armor of magical strength?
Okay.
So I have so many things. That one.
Okay.
Right.
That's
So
awesome.
that will give me an extra +5.
Okay.
I'm going to use athletics.
All right, and you got assistance from the toy.
Yeah. Which I believe might actually be. There's so much crap on my character sheet.
Yeah. You're pretty high level.
Okay.
Only way to avoid that is play a champion fighter.
Right.
Or die
Yeah,
at low level.
That's
also
right.
a good plan.
Okay, so that doesn't give me any advantage on athletics, but so that's athletics rolled as normal with +5.
Mm-hmm.
Nice.
Success. You pull yourself out of the restrained condition. You are no longer in piles of worms. Worms kind of drop off of you. They don't seem to kind of remain present. That said, you take.
Yeah, I do want to move to a safer position though.
You certainly can. But your bonus action, and I believe reaction were all expended during that turn, right?
No, actually, I still have a reaction. So
Oh,
extending
okay, I
that
see. It was
charge is just an
free.
additional part of whatever action I use to make the check.
Got it.
So I still have my reaction. I still have my movement.
Go with it.
So with my movement, I'm going to. So I still stay within 5 feet of Bartleby in case he decides to try and cast the spell again.
He's covered in worms as well. Now that you get out of them, you can see that Venkar is not, but Bartleby is covered in worms, contained.
Okay. Well, shit. I'm going to hop up on top of this chest piece so I can at least stay close.
Okay,
Get my servant to move even closer to me. So it's me and him with our backs to the wall.
perfect.
Sorry
Bartleby,
that took so long, guys.
Yep, no worries. So I'm going to use my ability. Manifest Mind.
Okay.
So that is a bonus action. Spectral Mind manifests. It has dark vision. It telepathically shares with me what it sees and hears. No action required.
okay. Yeah, I don't have one on the board, but since
Okay.
you're just using it to pop out of it via spellcraft. I get it.
Exactly. So I'm just basically using it to try to help me with my check to get out of this thing.
Okay, so that's a bonus action to manifest, and then you're not technically blinded, so you can kind of see that. You can also
Right.
just use your action to cast a spell that teleports you out of it. I would say use your bonus action to cast Misty Step, but you used your bonus action to awaken the mind, so you're going to
No, Misty Step doesn't work in here, does it?
Oh,
That's
right.
like Dimension.
Right.
That would be very bad.
No, sorry, no, I didn't say teleportation. I didn't mean teleportation. I meant gate magic, stuff that moves you from plane to plane. Teleportation's fine.
Okay. Oh, that confused us then.
Apologies.
So like Dimension would work?
Did I say dimension door is bad? I meant like gate and like plane shift and such.
Okay, so I could teleport.
Teleport's fine, yeah.
I'm
Yeah,
going to
I'm
do that.
confused.
Okay, so.
You sure you don't want a dimension door as a lower level spell if you have it? Because that's a big one.
I realize that, but I don't have it.
Okay, then yeah, anywhere you want in this space.
I want to go. The thing.
Okay. All right, and do me a favor, make a Constitution saving throw at the end of your turn.
Sure. And I think I have advantage on that, right?
No, this isn't against spells.
19.
Okay. You feel like during your next turn, if you were to cast plane shift, it would probably work, and you would be able to focus through on it because you didn't spend any time really focusing on casting a spell upcharged with your soul power.
Right.
You're kind of sparing it, so you
So
kind of.
I'm going to. Go ahead. Thank you.
Okay.
Yeah. As a free action, I would say, get in here. I can do it.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
On 20, or 22 rather. Bankar, go ahead.
All right, I got a kind of a crazy question.
Sure.
Did he just tell inside of a closed space, or is that space open because it was blasted open?
Teleport doesn't matter. He can teleport inside of any space.
Yeah, but I can't get in there unless I blast it
There's a
open,
broken.
right?
There's a broken hole.
broken.
You can go in.
Okay, I just want to make sure there was some way I could easily get in.
Yeah.
Since I'm flying, I'm gonna fly over there and get in right next to him. I guess I'll be like, Corso, come on, quick!
Okay.
Corso, come on, quick!
Any other actions or anything? Do you want to take the dodge action? Anything like that?
I think, or can I do the help action to help him cast a spell?
Sure. It won't
Yeah.
really matter. He's already got his save, so he's good on that. But
Protect me.
yeah. Okay. So you're in the box.
Wait, I got a crazy question. Could I cast Globe of Invulnerability around me? Because then they wouldn't be able to cast spells on us. Like, I have a Staff of Power that has that on there. I'll
We have
click
to make
it.
sure we can hold hands.
Globe of Invulnerability would work. So much to say on you and anyone within 10 feet of you. But the main issue with that is Globe of Invulnerability only blocks 5th level spells, nothing higher. So
Oh, right. If they cast, I'm just going to cast it because I can.
okay.
You know, it's just a career to help us, hopefully.
Yeah, it certainly limits their options. Perfectly fine. Okay.
Here.
All
I'm
right.
moving in there. I didn't move my guide, but I'm moving him in there.
Perfectly fine. On 20, you see the 3 creatures on the outside kind of reform as the piles kind of snap back to them. I would like for Andy to roll a d6.
Okay. 5.
Okay. All right. You watch as they kind of move inwards towards Cardiff.
Gonna eat Cardiff.
I wish you guys would have moved closer. I really want to take this knickknack with me.
We got it, dude.
Cardiff kind of moves towards the center of it, and kind of closes his eyes, kind of facing away from you, so you can't really tell that's happening. But after 20, it goes to 15.
Get in here.
I don't think that thing's going to be able to. I don't think my toy's going to be able to fit in there.
Nope.
I don't think it's going to be able to get close enough for me to hold hands with it.
Nope.
Either your toy or you go with it, or you
No.
stay behind.
I mean, my next bet is I'm gonna grab the chain that's attached to it and take
Okay.
it with me
You
to
get-
try and pull it in while I'm going.
You get in the box. You link hands with Venkar and Bartleby. On initiative 1, you can see that the creatures are basically moving around, kind of swarming up into a much larger form, and you can see that the closing darkness is getting closer, and you can see it writhing, like small bits just kind of moving in and about. The creatures that are on the map are your size, and the worms are accurate to that size. The creatures outside appear to be made out of worms that are the same scale as the other objects around it. So there's a massive kind of wreathing of worms in the darkness. Yeah, it goes to 25. Bartleby, you cast Plane Shift, correct?
Yep.
Okay. What's your destination?
So the Dragon Isles.
Okay. The second the spell is cast, you feel the soul kind of exit you and kind of empower the spell itself. You then watch as the spell's moat kind of disappears in front of you and kind of like becomes just a small sparkling kind of white bead, which flies out of the lantern towards the center of the map, hits Cardiff, and detonates his form, destroying his spectral essence. The second that
So the empowered energy that
that's
helped me
correct.
cast the spell
that's
blasted
correct.
him. Oh wow.
Yep. You then watch as the plane shift magic distorts everything inside of the space, and you start to feel as if everything is being drawn towards that hole. The first of the 3, the one that was closest to him, you watch as all the worms are basically rent apart. The mask starts breaking and falls into the void. All right. I'll grant you a free perception check on your turn if you'd like.
Yeah. $22.
Okay. And Corso, if you want to throw one, you have disadvantage for the roll, though, Corso. Okay. So you look in the kind of strange blue swirling chrono magic that seems to be kind of distorting around it. You notice that this magic is not just chronomancy that just is raw and unchecked here. This appears to be the very stuff of the spell Plane Shift that has formed in the center of this space. The blue and white lights, in them you can see what appears to be the image of the Dragon Isles, or at least somewhere in the Dragon Isles, that's being ripped around in a circle. So like one tendril, you can kind of see just like a little bit of the coast as it swims past you, or swings past you. It appears that this magical energy is the spell you just cast.
Very cool, Bartleby.
All right.
Going home.
What are you doing with your next action? Or your turn, rather? It's your turn.
Whose turn?
You.
So I cast the spell and then I go again.
No, yeah, that's right. Sorry, you cast your spell. You still have movement. I'm sorry, that's what I mean.
Where am I?
Inside of the box. You haven't left yet.
What? Wait, does that mean we need to? Do I sense that I need to move into the center of the map now to be transported?
That's absolutely a possibility.
Yeah. Do we need to not link to? What if we don't link hands anymore? What's gonna happen then?
If you kind of like questioningly kind of let go of the hand of Venkar for a second,
Okay.
nothing changes. It's still an absolute cacophony of like sound and magic outside. Inside,
Okay.
you're kind of sheltered from it inside of the lantern, but outside it seems like it's ripping things apart.
Okay. So as a free action, he's gonna yell. We need to get to the center, and I'm gonna dash into the center of the hole.
Okay. Well, you don't have an action to dash. You could cast plane shift. So
Oh,
you,
okay. So
you can
I just
move.
moved then. So 5, 10.
But I will say this: any movement outside of the lantern that is moving towards the center is doubled.
Okay, so I can get there.
Okay. You watch as he gets close to the center, Corso and Benkar, as Bartleby's form is basically spaghettified. It looks like you can see flesh splitting and blood rending. Reduce yourself to 0 hit points, Bartleby, and he disappears.
Ah!
And yeah, you're off the map as well. Sorry. So Venkar and Corso, here in the relative safety of the lantern, see outside that it's pretty bleak out there.
Well, Corso, looks like he died a very painful death, but
It
I
did
don't know
look
what else-
horrific, by the way. I want to make sure you understand that.
Could I have yelled? It's like ah!
Yeah, you were definitely
do
screaming. The scream
Zero 10 would not recommend.
the scream started to hit them, but then it felt like the scream was pulled away from their ears into the hole.
Corso says, after you.
all right. Venkar goes next. So Venkar would look over at Corso and go, Corso, if I don't make it, tell the Dragon Lord Reneneth that I love him. And I would head flying right out there. towards-
Spaghetti for dinner.
Okay, Corso, make
As he
a
leaves, he says, how do you spell that?
make a medicine check. Okay,
I'm going to use my flash of
insight.
whatever.
So
Yeah.
I'll give you advantage on this. It's pretty raw, like understanding. So 17. So as Venkar kind of hits the event horizon of the plane shift spell, you watch as his horns are pulled from his head, his teeth are ripped out of his gums, and his whole body is sent into the hole. You're reduced to 0 hit points, Venkar. You watch as a very horrific event happens, and Venkar disappears.
It's easier when you're first.
After Venkar, it goes to the worms. The one that's closest cannot resist and is dragged into the center. Each worm being ripped apart, becoming long strands of worm as they're pulled in. You then watch as the map starts to crumple up and be pulled into the plane shift from underneath. You are also watching as everything around it starts to kind of warp and distort. It definitely feels like you are in a space that is no longer a physical space, but more of a magical space. You are still inside of the lantern, even though the lantern is over there, and over there, and over there.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
And
I'm
you're-
in like the weird in between where it's like I'm inside the space that's being warped, but I can see it from the outside.
Yep, and you can see that the one of the larva mages has moved closer to the lantern, or your portion of the lantern, and its wormy fingers have kind of snapped onto the broken glass, and the mask has kind of moved into the space. Despite its presence, you can feel that it's definitely different spatially outside. Like, there is a lot going on outside, but inside it's not. So the back end of this larva mage is like being kind of pulled inwards, and the front end of it is like normal now that it's breached the barrier of the glass.
Okay, I'm gonna get really creative. This might not work, but if it does, it's gonna be fucking cool. Okay, 1 to 5 pounds within range isn't being worn or carried. What's the average weight of a shield?
3 pounds. But
Okay.
the shield you're wielding right now, or the shield that you're thinking about, or do you have a shield on you?
I do.
Okay, it doesn't feel like it weighs 3 pounds. because you weigh a lot less than 3 pounds. So if you're focusing on a spell that deals with weights and measurements, you don't weigh what you normally weigh. So keep that in mind.
Okay, but what if I'm not casting it on me or anything I'm wearing, but on something else?
Yeah, that's fine. Everything else
Okay.
outside weighs what it should weigh. You weigh
Okay.
a lot less.
Okay, well, my plan was I wanted to latch onto that shield and catapult it into the plane shift and ride it out of there.
It doesn't feel like Yeah, you're an artificer. You're a pretty smart lad. Go ahead and make me just an Arcana check.
All right, I have advantage on this.
You would know that the shield, is not a 360-degree barrier against the exterior. It's very likely, if you're trying to do sick, awesome SSX tricky ride into this hellmouth of just maelstrom of magic, you'll probably meet the same fate as your friends.
No, that's fine. But this way, I can hopefully take the trinket with me and also the shield.
The lantern is a 360-degree barrier with the exception of the broken part.
Damn. Well, it looks like I'll have to come back for that shield.
Or use it to block out the window somehow. I don't know. Probably unlikely. It's massive compared to you, but if you're shunting things based on weight, yeah, you can do that.
Yeah, I basically just wanted to hang on to the shield with one hand and catapult it with the other.
Got it. Yeah, it's probably not likely.
All right, that's fine.
Because you'd have to exit the lantern to get to it.
Yeah, that's fine. So I'm still hanging on to the chain though.
Yeah.
My toy is attached to.
It's just outside.
Right. It's like waving at me plaintively through the glass. It's like, help me.
So do you want to catapult the lantern then?
Yeah. Like, well, I'm just gonna ride the lantern into.
Okay. As it kind of moves,
hang on to the chain while I do it.
As it moves towards the center point, the chain starts to kind of feel like it's going to be pulled away. Do you want to drag the chain in as much as you can, or relinquish it?
I mean, I really want to. I honestly, I probably would have commanded my toy to jump into the.
It's helping. That's fine, but it's outside. It can't really fit in, so it's being dragged away. All I need from you to see how this goes is give me a strength athletics check.
Okay. I'm gonna use both a flash of inspiration and a charge for my armor.
Cool. So you have plus intelligence.
Twice. So it's actually plus 10.
Okay. All right. You feel as the force of raw magic is dragging it away. You start kind of bringing the chain in, forearm over forearm, wrapping the chain around your wrists and forearms and bringing it in. And you can see this distorted cat statue kind of being pulled apart. But then you realize that it's not distorted. The gold around it is. And then you can kind of feel your connection to your toy disbend. It's dead. The toy is dead. But the statue is still out there. And you're still somehow connected to it with this chain, which you're pulling in. Its face, as you start to see the warp of the magic come into it, kind of finger its way into it and pull the larva mage out, and start to sink in the hole, the cat statue slams into the glass perfectly, slotting in the massive break that you've made. And as that's happening, everything kind of just goes dark, and you can just feel it's like you're sitting inside of a house during a power outage and the winds are just going over and there's a tornado siren blaring, but it's probably just your head, as everything's mashing against the lantern. The next thing you know, you wake up, your eyes are staring upwards. There are small bits of glass on your armor which you kind of look down and see, but the sun is above you. I need to change the music, hold on, sorry. Yeah, let's go with that. The sky is above you. Bright blue, sun shining. Some clouds kind of just high, fluffy blue, white clouds kind of floating off in the sky. You can hear the crash of waves against the shore. You see a hand appear in the sun, kind of blocking it, kind of reaching out for you as you're laying there on the ground. offering to kind of pick you up off the ground.
I take it, but I'm also looking around for the cat stone.
Okay. As you do so, you would see that there is the cat stone kind of sitting there, kind of off to the side.
I pick it up and I just hold on to it. I don't put it in my bag of holding. I just keep it in my fist.
The hand that you take is an older man's hand. He appears to be bound in kind of the robes of a chronomancer. His beard nicely, kind of neatly, cleaned. His face, wrinkled, liver spots and what have you, but much more tidy and a bit more regal than the chronomancers, the versions of this chronomancer you've seen so far.
Okay, so this is a Cardiff.
As he takes your hand, he pulls you up. He looks down at the statue and says, "I won't be needing it anymore. Thank you. You've helped me a lot." Kind of looks around, and you can see the ghosts of everyone else besides you. All the other mages kind of standing around. My spell...
Corso's generally a pretty, stoic individual. He's pretty shocked right now.
My spell on you remains. I cannot unburden you from your current existence.
That's quite all right. Can you at least give me the shield in your possession?
I do not have it. It seems that the only things that came with you... He gestures down to the ground. You see the broken lantern. You see the stone. And the kind of chain that is kind of mangled, still in your grasp. Some of it kind of broken apart as your wrists grew to normal size. But yeah, the lantern is normal size. You are normal size as well. But the ghosts of everyone kind of behind him are kind of standing there. And he says, "The problem with this magic is it's very... hard for certain people," gesturing to you, "to grasp. Although you being a survivalist from a hellish future, not yet realized, might be more understanding of what I've done here, more accepting."
Some of the things I've seen would truly fascinate you.
Well, know this. This version of you that I have called to me to help me and help pull me free from my problem was at the end of his history. You were pulled from the very last moment of your life. When I return you to it, you will meet that end. Muted.
Oh, yeah. Corso thinks for a moment, and then he says, "Well, I hope there's no rush."
It's why he gestures towards Bartleby, and you watch as his ghostial form starts to kind of manifest back into material form. These bodies are allowed certain privileges. Looks over to Vankar. A certain bit of immortality. Vankar kind of steps out of his ghostial form into his physical form. The thing that happens to both of you immediately as you kind of exit the torpor of the temporal stasis and enter back into the physical stasis is you realize you died horribly and you experienced every second of that.
So naturally, one of the first questions out of Corso's mouth is, "So what was it like?"
Well, sorry, you have 1 hit point. Cardiff looks to you, Corso, and kind of shakes his head. "You'll see in time. It probably won't be as violent a death as they just suffered. But it will come. Everyone dies. Some people are brought back, but in the end, everyone ends. When the story is no longer told, you fade He looks down at the grass. You can hear seagulls kind of off in the distance. He looks to you, Venkar. A bit far from where you're from. A bit out of time as well. As he kind of walks towards the cliff, he gestures. Where you will end up. And as you kind of look out to the sea, you can see a massive island, which appears to be moving in the water off the coast of the island you're on.
Is this much further in the future?
No. Much further in the past.
Is that just a giant turtle that sometimes surfaces and swims around?
It is an island of one of the mages that I have brought along with you. You die there. You die there soon. When I pulled you from where I pulled you from, that is where you were headed. Looks over to Bartleby. Really depressing matter of your death. You died in your office. You choked on a fishbone.
Oh, that's so sad.
Looks over to Corso. You know how you died. You didn't survive that encounter.
Corso smiles and he says, as long as they don't either.
They do. They go on to destroy the last remnants of your people. He turns away from you and looks back out to the sea. Breathe in the air. Live for this moment. You have done something great by me. You have spared my life. But I know too that my end will come. You then hear a voice kind of like disenchantedly come up from behind him. Sooner than you think. As a gauntleted hand comes over Cardiff's shoulder, and rags start to form around behind him. Cardiff doesn't appear surprised, doesn't appear concerned. Ah. My second mistake. Gressil says, "What?" Well then, do your work. You see Gressil reach towards his neck in a violent fashion. Do the likes of you wish to do anything?
I
So
shoot Gressil's hand.
okay, I want to make sure. I'm going to give you 3 options. There's no action rolls or anything. It's just more narrative. You can violently assail Gressil in an attempt to destroy Gressil and end him. You can attempt to intercede and block Gressil from this activity and keep Gressil alive. Or you can let Gressil do what Gressil's going to do. That being said, we'll just go left to right. Andy, what would Bartleby do in this moment?
He would not intercede.
Okay, Chad, what would Corso do in this moment?
I'm gonna go with option number 2.
You shoot for Gressil's hand in an attempt to
Yeah, I'm gonna interfere, but I'm not gonna
Kill
shoot to
Gressil.
kill.
Okay, and Venkar?
I think Venkar is going to spit a little acidic dragon's breath on his arm, try to like melt it off, you know.
So you're
Help
also
him out.
trying to stop Gressil, but not kill him. Okay,
Right, exactly.
perfect. As the two of you engage, Cardiff kind of slips to the side, and you basically push Gressil back against the cliff. Cardiff kind of moves behind you with kind of chronomatic speed. You see it kind of become a blue blur and kind of appear behind you lot. Gressil kind of hand burned, the rags burned, throws the gauntlet down to the side, covered in acid with bullet holes through it, and you can see that underneath it, there's nothing but worms. As the worms kind of get displayed, you see the rags kind of very quickly snap around them to cover them up. And Gressil kind of looks up with the ruby eye at Corso and then to Venkar. I thought we had an understanding. Cardiff shakes his head from behind and says, "You tried to form an understanding with my servants. Folly. Forget this. I change the rules." And you see him kind of twists his hands as a large clock appears before him. You see him very quickly move his hands through it. And you can kind of feel time stop, but at the same time you can also see that he's moving very quickly. You don't seem to have enough time to respond to this, but you watch the very intricate gestures that he's making. You then watch as the Dragon Isles themselves kind of fade away from view, and darkness takes you. And that's all I have planned for this session. We will pick up next time and see how the continued battle between the Mistake and the Chronomancer continues. Thanks for watching, those that did, and I'm going to go ahead and kill the stream.